I have some really disappointing and really concerning news to share with you in this video. If you are in the real estate industry or if you're thinking about buying a home in the future, you definitely want to pay attention on this video, because if you don't know this information, it could cost you, potentially it could kill the deal in the transaction, or what I think is actually worse is you could buy the home and then have some major issues with insurance in the future, making your property uninsurable or just not being able to afford the insurance payments because they go up so much. So let's start from the beginning. Everybody knows you need to get a home inspection. I've been selling properties for 16 years. I've never had a client waive an inspection. Okay, we know that, that's the basic. But what I have never really had to think about in my entire career up to this point is the fact that we need to have concern over all of these inspection companies, what software they are using to create their home inspection reports. So it has recently come to my attention that many of the software companies that the inspection companies are using are starting to get purchased either in full or in part by private equity firms. So Spectora is one of the bigger and more commonly used software programs that inspectors are often using. HomeGauge is another one. Spectora has recently had an investment from Radian Capital, which is private equity and essentially is in the insurance business and is expanding into more, data collection. And what I am starting to hear is that there are reports of people stating that they've had their home inspection, and then later down the road, they were contacted by their insurance company, essentially knowing things that were in that report, despite the fact that that report was not shared. And then they changed the terms. They stated, well, your insurance is going to be more expensive now. Now, here's the thing. When you get a home inspection, that inspector is not allowed to share that inspection report with anybody but you as the buyer, because that is your personal property. The inspector is not even allowed to send that report to the listing agent. And as a buyer's agent, if I'm representing, if I'm a buyer's agent in that capacity in that transaction, I have to get, permission from my clients to even send that inspection report that they've given me over to the listing agent. And the reason that we do so is because we want to prove, we want to help you get the repairs or the credits that you want and prove that there are condition issues. And that's part of our negotiations and our request for repairs. Well, somehow there are now reports online that people are being contacted by their insurance companies with this knowledge that there are condition issues that were not public information. I've even seen one video where somebody stated that, where an inspector stated that a client was really mad and blaming him, despite the fact that he claims he did not share the report because somehow it got into the hands of the lender, which of course, if home inspection reports get into the hand of the lender, that can kill the deal, because the lending company can then require all of these condition issues to be fixed prior to close of escrow. I mean, they can do what they want with that. They can potentially deny the loan, or just really, it opens up a huge can of worms. Now, that's a lot of fear-based stuff. And I want to make it clear that I have not personally experienced any of this. I have not had any clients state that they, have fear that their reports were shared. I've not had any clients have their home inspection reports get into the hand of the lender. And I've not had any clients be contacted by their insurance companies, stating that they knew some kind of condition issues. Now, I'm in California. We already have an insurance crisis. What we are facing more commonly is just home insurance companies doing a lot of non-renewals, or sending their drones, or sending people out from their company to, walk the exterior of the property, and then of course, increase the prices of the homeowner's insurance. Oh, you have trees too close to your home, or you have this, so now we're changing things, or you have to do this, you have to get a new roof. Honestly, that could be a whole separate video on how crazy homeowners insurance is in California right now. So back to the issue with the software companies. I don't want to necessarily fearmonger because I haven't personally experienced this, but as a broker associate and as a real estate agent of 16 years, I have concern over that. I have future concern, because if I have knowledge that that's a possibility, I need to tell all of my clients and future clients that that's a possibility. And then we need to mitigate the risk as much as possible. So I am about to speak to three different home inspection companies in my area, and find out what they are doing to mitigate the risks. I did speak to one really well-known and really good home inspection company in my area that I've used many times. I spoke to the owner this morning, and he stated that yes, he received this information about Spectora essentially being bought out or partially bought out last week, verified this information, and that he was not happy with it as well. He stated that he was given the option to opt out of letting Spectora have his client's database, which is all of the home buyers. To me, it's concerning that that is even an option, that sharing that information is an option. He states that he also has not had any firsthand experience with any clients complaining of, those inspections getting into the wrong hands, but that he is actively looking into other software programs and is actively comparing two different companies with the potential to leave the use of Spectora. The problem is Spectora is a good product. It makes it easy for the home inspectors, as they're honestly, they have a really tough job. They're going about sometimes these huge properties, and they have to find every little thing wrong, down to which specific, outlet is not GFCI, and, just everything. And they're going around doing this for, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. And it makes it easy for them to be able to type that information, submit the pictures, and then it creates this report, which honestly sometimes is 50 pages or 100 pages in my market. It's a report that, as I mentioned, we as the real estate agent really need, because we need to be able to provide that information to the listing agent so that we can get the repairs or the credits that our clients want. Now, I have recently seen some comments from people stating paper written reports is the only way to go. That's the only solution to the solving the risk that these inspection reports are going to get into the wrong hands. And while I completely understand that sentiment, and I want the situation to be fixed, paper reports are not feasible, at least not in my market. If you're a real estate agent, feel free to comment below and let me know if you think it would work in your market. But I'm telling you, our reports are 50 to 100 pages. They need to be. I can't imagine an inspector sitting there, not just sitting there, let's say doing a 3-hour report, walking through the entire home, and then sitting there and writing up 50 to 100 pages handwritten, handing you that piece of paper. We need those pictures, remember, because a lot of times the sellers do not believe that there's anything wrong with their property unless they physically see it. So we need those pictures. Then what? We're going to have this handwritten piece of paper, or packet of paper, I should say. And then how are we as the agents to then, go to Kinko's and scan in 100 pages and then email it to the listing agent? Is that all potentially doable? Yeah. Is it actually feasible? No, it's really not, with as much information as there is. As I could see the potential for, these handwritten reports on something like a mobile home, which is going to just essentially contain less content. But with ours, it's just not the way to go. I personally think that the way to go is making sure that home inspection companies are usually using software that is not owned by private equity. And that's basically where I am. So I don't have a perfect solution. I'm basically sharing information that I've just become aware of today. And I'm sure that I will have some updates for you shortly. But feel free to share this with people that that are, actively looking to buy a house, or with other real estate agents, so that they can warn their clients. And mainly, I would encourage you to have conversations with your home inspection company of choice, see what they're using, see what they're doing to protect the client's data, and go from there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe, because I create lots of videos on all things real estate, and I'm sure I'll have some updates on this as well. Thank you.